thinking about potentially purchasing your own scuba gear or wondering if renting is still worth it? Well, I've been diving since 2023 and I just recently purchased my full set of gear. So today I wanted to break down the pros and cons of both and if owning your own gear or if renting is worth it. So if you're a new diver or just sick and tired of BCDs don't fitting, properly, this video should be for you. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So like I said, today I just wanted to talk about the pros and cons when it comes to renting scuba equipment versus owning your own, because I've done both. And it wasn't up until maybe like a month, no, that is fully wrong. It wasn't recently until a few weeks ago I have fully purchased all my scuba gear. So the only thing that I need to rent now is just cylinders. So yeah, I just kind of want to talk about both and like the pros and cons and what I think is better and whatnot to potentially just help any of you guys, because I still see myself as a new diver. I haven't gone to the ocean. I've been doing like a lot of freshwater dives. I think I started noticing how much money I was racking up for rentals. So that made me want to potentially get my own gear and have something that fits comfortably and I know is adjusted to my body. But yeah, so I guess first I want to talk about rentals. So the pros and cons, or at least this is what I think. And again, I, haven't gone out of the country or, to Florida yet. And maybe once I experience that my viewpoint might change a little bit, but I highly doubt it. So the pros and cons I think are for renting. Pro, it's cheaper short term. Obviously you don't have to do any maintenance, which if you have your own gear, you at least should be getting it checked once a year just to make sure everything's good. And just, also there is no servicing. So if there's anything that's broken on your equipment and you need to get it fixed or replaced, like obviously with rental gear, you don't have to do that. Another pro with rental gear is it's great for travel or casual dives. So I think, again, I haven't experienced this, but I think when some people go out of the country, sometimes they, want to use rental gear because it's easier than having to lug all their stuff, which might potentially cost more when you're traveling like on an airplane and having to fly everything out. But I don't know, I think if it's me, I would kind of be scared using another dive shop equipment that I don't know. Like, I don't want to say that they're not trustworthy, but if you haven't been around them all the time, like, you might be a little leery. You're scared, like, what if I have a malfunction, or like, what if something happens? I don't know, that's just me. So another thing with trips is, I guess with your rentals, like, you don't have to carry bulky gear, because again, if this is somewhere out of the country, or like, let's say Florida, if you're renting there locally, you don't have to carry everything with you. Like, they might bring it to the boat, or like, it's not that long of a travel to bring the gear. I'm explaining this more complicated, but you get the point. So cons, and this is, I think, majority why I no longer want to rent stuff, but it adds up over time. So I want to eventually save a little bit more money. I know obviously diving is a very expensive activity, and I'm a mid-20-year-old, doing this when it's like, oh, Courtney, you probably should save more and stuff. Well, this is one of my thought processes, is to, obviously purchase my own gear so then I can like spend less on rentals, because I'm trying to dive more frequently. So there's that. Another con is just the comfort issues. You might have, like, they might run out of sizes, so you might have a wetsuit that's a little bit tighter or a little too loose, or like BCDs, when you rent them, sometimes, at least the dive shop I go to, like, you learn that you like a specific brand, or at least for me, I love diving with the Luna. Well, sometimes they had one Luna and somebody else might be renting it for the weekend or whatever, so they give you another BCD and I'm like, oh, I'm not too comfortable with this one or used to it. And also, BCD rentals so many people are constantly using it, they adjust it to their body, so it's not going to immediately be adjusted to your body and stuff, so you got to play around with that and whatnot. And of course, same thing with regulators. I've learned that I like diving with the Scuba Pro regulators. I don't know why. I think it's just because of the fitting of my mouth, and I've used those so much that I trust that brand. And so when you're renting, sometimes you might get a different regulator, or you never know what you're going to encounter. So just things like that. So owning your own, it's always going to be like fitted in, and it's going to feel comfortable because you've adjusted it to your body. Another con, just the quality or availability can, vary. And like I said, when I wanted to use a Luna BCD, they didn't have one during one of the weekends or whatever. So you just never know when renting what might be available, especially if it's a busy weekend where like a lot of divers are diving somewhere like locally. And even though you put your name in like really quick and be like, I wanna rent this, like you still just, you don't know what you're gonna get. I think I kind of said this, but like not fully. One of the other cons would just be like always adjusting to new gear. So like I said, even though I liked Luna, throughout the years, they could potentially add different BCD, companies, or other products, and you just, if you're gonna rent constantly, you have to get used to the new equipment that they have, rather you like the old equipment and not whatnot. So moving forward to pros and cons of owning. Pros, as I said, a custom fit feels more comfortable, and well, I don't know why I put this, but you have more confidence. Like, I think as in you feel more confident like before you start the dive, like, yes, I can do this, even though I don't think I always feel scared before a dive, whatever. As I said before, long-term savings, my bad. Especially if you dive often. Like I said, I dive more locally. I haven't gone out of the country trips or to Florida, but the dive shop that I dive with, they do like a lot of local events. Like during Halloween, they do underwater pumpkin carving. They do an event called Summer Splash. But yeah, so owning my own gear, it just makes it easier, so I'm not having to spend so much if I'm doing a lot of local dives. One of the other pros, you always know your gear inside and out. Again, if you're taking care of the equipment after every dive, not that I don't trust anybody at my dive shop, because I actually trust them more than I trust myself. But I mean, I think if you're cleaning your own gear and taking care of it, I feel like you're gonna, you know your gear inside out, so you're gonna feel more safer and more secure with that. Again, with if you're gonna be frequently diving pretty often, you're always ready to dive. You don't have to wait on availability for rentals and whatnot. But the cons, which we're going to dive into this eventually, so you'll see how much everything is expensive. So one of the first cons is the big upfront cost. A lot of this gear is really expensive, but again, it's a one-time purchase. So, I mean, unless you're like somehow destroying your BCD or, I don't know, regulator like pretty quick, you should have it for hopefully a couple years, I think. Another con, must maintain and service it. This is kind of one of the things I mentioned, which was a pro in rentals, because you should at least be getting your gear maintenance like once a year, just to make sure everything's still working and all that fun stuff. So that could, be expensive eventually. And so the last con I have, travel can be more complicated, especially with your regulator and BCD. And again, I haven't experienced this yet, so maybe I might start hating this when I do. I know some people, because they had like a night talking about travel night and whatnot, I know some people have methods and it's very easy peasy. The only fear is just, if you lose your luggage on a plane ride, if your BCD is in there, it's like, you could be like, oh shoot, it's gone or whatever. I haven't ran into this yet, like traveling with my own gear, so we'll see how that goes when I get there. But as of now, I don't have a stance on that. So now what I'm going to do is I have a list. I went through all my receipts for the past 3 years. So to give context, I have my own gear, you know, everything. But I didn't purchase that all in like 1 month or like the same day. Everything is so expensive, and like I said, I'm in my mid-20s, so I don't have a whole lot of money. So what I have done is, since I've been certified, which was in 2023, over time I have saved up for certain things, and when I see any sales as well, I purchase it, because I don't know if every dive shop is like that. Luckily, my dive shop is, that I go to. But normally some, especially during the summer and stuff, they might have a big sale. So the one I go to in the summer, they have 1 week this huge massive sale on certain products or brands. And so it's really nice, because you could be spending a whole lot less. Like, I wasn't able to because they didn't have the BCD that I wanted, but I want to say at least the BCDs I was looking at for purchasing, you know, they're around like $600, and I'll get more details into the one that I bought and the price. But when they're selling it during their sales, I want to say they were around like maybe $500 to $400. So, you know, you're saving a little bit. But I mean, every dollar helps. So let's get into this. Obviously, this is stuff that's not, I don't believe you can rent, or at least it, oh gosh, my cat, she's going near the cat. No, 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 don't. Alright, sorry for that pause. My cat was approaching my tripod, and so she was about to knock down my camera. So I just decided to pick her up, and I guess you're going to be in this video with me. This is Lila. So anywho, I know this is stuff that you don't, I know at least my dive shop that I go to doesn't, but I think this is stuff you have to purchase before you get certified. Maybe they might have some stuff when you're getting certified, like that you can borrow, but you should purchase this stuff, because I don't think most places are going to let you rent this. So to start off with the basics, SMT is $42. The reel with a brass clip that I purchased, which can go down to 100 feet, is $16. My fins that I purchased, which hopefully at this point I show you guys a picture or a video. I don't have them in my room at the moment. They're actually in my car. But the ones that I purchased are $95. The next thing I purchased was my Dive Max mask, and that was $59.95. And then some of the more expensive things, which I guess I should just grab and show you. Okay, Lila, I'm sorry. You're not gonna, she's like, please don't drop me. You're not gonna be able to be in the rest of this video, baby. I gotta go pick up some stuff. So, the dive wetsuit that I have is Bare, B-A-R-E wetsuit. And this, bad boy cost me $300. And again, I really was so, once I got my own wetsuit, I was so happy because it felt so comfortable. And this, I believe, is a 3 mil, not a 5. I might be saying that incorrectly. And then, of course, it was teal, so it went with my whole aesthetic that I'm trying to do. So yeah, this one was pretty expensive, but again, if you take great care of it, and especially if you're not doing as many like classes in the pool, because that definitely messes with your wetsuits and stuff like that, you should be fine. So up next, I have my dive computer, which is my Neon Cressy. It's purple and white. If I could do teal and white, I would, but they didn't have those colors. But purple is also really cute. And this cost me $225. However, I got it during one of their sales, so it actually originally cost $369.95. So again, every dollar helps. So yeah, so this is the Luna BC, as I've shown before, and I'll probably include a video maybe up close showing the details of it. But again, it's teal, or on their website they call it Tiffany. But again, I love my Luna. I love diving with them, with that product. And that cost me $633. So, whew, everything's racking up. I didn't include, I forgot to put this in my notes. I forgot how much my, booties cost. Okay, so these are, the boots that I'm talking about. I forgot to look up the Neon Sport. But of course, over here somewhere, I'll put the price range of how much these cost. And then, the next thing, this is where I would say the most expensive thing of my scuba gear that I spent, and I just recently made all these purchases, so let me go grab that. So this is my regulator, but if you didn't know, without owning your own scuba gear, all three of these things are separate. So the regulator itself is just this one, and I forgot what this is called. So the regulator itself, which I did a Scuba Pro regulator, cost me $605. And I got a discount off of this because I was supposed to, well, girl math discount. I was supposed to take a class that they had to reschedule, and it was just sitting like in my account at the shop as like a reimbursement or whatever, and I was like, well, you know what? Since I don't know if I'm going to be able to take the class whenever they reschedule it, how about we use it to put towards the regulator? So that's what I did. Okay, so the next thing is my Scuba Pro Octopus, so my Octo, which is your backup regulator. So that's just this separate thing. So when you purchase it, like I said, these are all not attached to this besides the regulator, so they all come separately. So the Octo cost me $234, and that I purchased a few months ago before I went through and got the regulator and the other stuff. And so the last purchase is, which again, if you purchase your BCD already, this hose should come with it, which mine came with my BCD, so I didn't have to purchase this. But my other separate thing is my Quick V pressure gauge. So this sucker. Now, the store had a few options. They had one where I think it just showed your PSI and your depth. And I was like, well, I have a dive watch. I don't think I really want to know the depth. And then there's one where it either had all three or something. And then there's this one which it had the PSI and a compass, and I was like, well, I don't have a compass. That's actually kind of cool. So I purchased this one, and so this one cost me $217. So as you can see, that's a lot of money. But down the road, since you own all your gear, you're slowly going to pay less when you're not renting. However, if you're like me and you're living in an apartment and you don't have the place or a garage to purchase cylinders for diving, then yeah, I'm gonna have to constantly rent cylinders. So cool. But even if you own your own, you still have to pay a fee of getting them filled, Before I move on to the prices for renting, I did want to talk about something. So, there has to be a lot of dive shops that do stuff like this. I mean, I don't know if it's just mine, but one great thing, as I mentioned, that they also have a whole week in the summer where they do sales, and you can buy stuff super cheap. Another fun thing is, I guess depending where you live, if there's a dive shop near you locally, get involved in their community, whether that's a club or any activities that they have, because mine, so they do a lot of activities, and they do fun games and stuff, I guess mainly for the younger kids and stuff who just got certified and they're diving with their parents. But during the summer they do a deal where when people come and they buy, gear during the sale, they do raffles, so you can potentially win a trip, or you can win a cool dive light. And I guess it's in my BCD. I'm not going to show it because you know, but I have won a total of 3 things, which would have cost me more money, and you know that's really awesome. So one of them, maybe I'll show a picture, is a dive knife, and that's really helpful if you get stuck in like fishing wire. Just you can cut yourself out, and just for any other things you run into, or if you're in the ocean and you see an animal like trapped or something, you know, just having a dive knife on you is great. Don't. Can you stay? She's about to. She's like, I want to knock down the camera, but I don't know. Stay right here, Missy. Um, but my other thing, I won this, and I can't remember if it was the pumpkin carving competition, but look at this awesome mask. And you guys can't see, maybe I'll show a better picture, but this has, it's one of those tinted masks, so it's like perfect for like with the sun in the ocean, which I haven't used it yet, but I've made this more of like my own backup gear, because they always say, no. It's like watching a child. No, don't you jump up there. Sit down. But it's like, I've heard, you know, when you go diving, it's always best to have backup gear. So, you know, I've gotten this stuff for, I'm like so terrified. Oh, you can see her tail. Hey, Coco. Cats, man. Sorry about that. My camera just decided to shut off. I don't know what happened. But anywho, so I won those that face mask, which is awesome. And then also, when I went to an event called Women's Dive Day, they did a fun treasure hunt kind of thing. You had to find stuff in the quarry, and basically everybody, even if you didn't find something, they still gave tickets to everybody, and people won all kinds of fun stuff. And I won a whole backup pair of fins. I mean, that's awesome. And some people during these competitions, they even have BCDs and stuff. So I mean, if you just get involved in your local community, you can potentially win some cool stuff if they have that type of activities. So yeah. But moving on, the last thing I wanted to talk about is renting gear. Luckily, I'm really cool with my dive shop, and I talk to them a lot and, you know, bother them constantly. They're probably like, oh, why is Courtney calling again? And so I got them to send me a screenshot of their prices for rental gear. And if it's easier, I can put it on the screen somewhere over here. But basically, they have a normal daily price, and then it can get more expensive based on, I guess, what time that you're renting and whatnot. So a dive computer for daily rental, it's $40. For a weekend rental, it's $60. And for weekly rentals, it's $90. And I don't know when they say weekly, like you're using it for the whole week or whatnot. I've never had to pay that big of expenses. So then for regulator, it's $20 for daily. For the weekend rental, it's $30, and then for weekly rental, it's $50. So again, this stuff, while your own gear can sound really expensive, if you're diving a lot locally and just, you know, a lot throughout the week, or, you know, the next few weeks, this could, you know, I'm doing so many, I need to keep my hands to myself. This could eventually, you know, rack up over time. And then so BCDs, daily rental is $40, and the weekend rental is $60, and then weekly rental is $90. Again, yikes. I mean, depending how often you're renting, that can be a lot. And then for cylinders, which is what I still have to rent, it's $20 for a daily rental, $40 for a weekend rental, and then weekly rental it's $60. For a wetsuit, it's $30 for a daily rental. For a weekend, it's $50, and for a weekly, it's $75. And then for weight, for a daily rental, it's $20. For a weekend rental, it's $30, and for a weekly rental, it's $50. That's actually another thing I haven't purchased because I was not confused. I kind of forgot when I purchased my BCD that you actually had to get weights for it. I'm still going to, but some of the prices for weights are really expensive, and I'm trying to find the best option. So I guess that's something I also don't have. And if I find any good things, I'll let you guys know. But so in the meantime, I still am renting weights from the shop I go to, but that hasn't been really bad. And then again, I'm part of a membership, so sometimes you might get discounts and whatnot. So yeah, that's basically it. I mean, obviously, as you can tell in this video, I lean more towards like owning. I love having my own gear versus renting. I definitely would not go back. And again, I guess my advice to any of you all, especially if you're a new diver, you know, don't rush it. So if you're like, I just want my own gear, but everything's so expensive, just chill. Like, slowly purchase stuff over time. And, you know, maybe instead of eating out or whatever you're wasting your money on that you probably shouldn't be wasting it on, put that in the savings account and just make that a goal to slowly save up for diving. Because I'm very aware that this is an expensive activity and something I really love. So I try to find ways as much as possible to save money towards it, because it's what I love, and I like doing this activity during my free time. So yeah, so if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And then maybe let's see if we can get some people start talking. Write in the comments if you rent or if you have your own gear and what your thoughts are on about it, because I'm really curious to know what your all's opinions on it, whether you guys are a new diver or you're someone who's been diving for years. But yeah, leave a comment. I'm curious what you guys think. And if you're a new diver or you just love the ocean and the water, the ocean in the water. If you like the ocean in fresh water, be sure to subscribe, because I'm definitely going to be making more content. And like I said, there's going to be some more dive vlogs that are going to be coming up soon. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Bye! Pew. Lila, what do you want to say to the viewers? That's all, folks.